you not click the live button for the music? 'Cause we can't hear you. Now we did.
What is up there, boys and girls? This is the Chris and Mike Show, coming to you live on YouTube from the We Fix Ugly Pools studios. From installation, renovation, to complete backyard creation, We Fix Ugly Pools does it all. 602-499... Oh, shit, I messed up his number again. 8162. There you go. No, 602-253-41199. 4199. Sooner or later, I'll get that right. You know, hey, Brian. Hey, we got Vince Perri. Is that how I say it, or Perry?
Vince Perri.
Vince Perri with us today, and we are actually simultaneously going live on YouTube. Like I just said, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook as well. And we are working on the chrisandmikeshow.com, so be patient for that. Welcome to the show, Vince. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Chris. Mike, how are you guys?
Nice to meet you, Vince. Thanks for coming on, man.
For sure, man. It's my pleasure. Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. That's what we do, man. So tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll just dive into, deep intellectual conversation.
Oh, I mean, what do you want to know? You want to know successes? You want to know rock bottom? Do you want to know wins?
So kind of give us an idea of who you are, what you're about, as far as in your current everyday, what do you do? What kind of message are you trying to get out there? And we'll start from there.
Yes.
I'm what you would probably call a serial entrepreneur.
Okay.
Awesome.
Constantly, I love creating things, and I love mentorship and leadership. So it kind of runs hand in hand with entrepreneurship, is because you're constantly just coming up in your crazy brain of new ideas and different things that you want to do and problems to solve and all of these things. It's like, oh, that's a great idea. Let me go ahead and do it. And then I've always been very high execution, where if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to get it done, and I get it done.
Right.
And then I was also a tennis coach for 15 years.
Wow.
Where I taught kids from 4 to 94. That's what I always say.
Wow.
I taught some elite athletes as well. So coaching, and then my mom was a elementary school teacher and guidance counselor. My uncle was a elementary school teacher and child psychologist. So that whole thing is just sort of been in my blood. So coaching, mentorship, stuff like that, mixed with the creative spirit that I've got of just wanting to create different things. It's just always blended together and just always turned into a company.
Okay,
Nice.
Let me ask you this. In the entrepreneurship side of your life, what would you consider your biggest success story and your biggest failure?
My biggest success story is probably just the impact that I've made on a lot of people. I know it's kind of general, but being able to lead a group of people and just sort of lead them all, and all of us just moving in the same direction, when all of that's clicking, it's just a beautiful thing, man. I've just never seen anything like it. There's wouldn't compare it to, I know you guys are music guys, so I wouldn't compare it to a high I'm getting on stage, but it's like that, where it's just when just everything's going right, it's just money, man. It's
but where it would compare is having the hive mind. We all have to be on the same page at the exact same time to make that happen, right? If there's one person that's not clicking that particular night, that will drag the whole thing down. So I can relate to it on that level for sure.
Yeah.
And from an entrepreneur, I can't speak today.
Entrepreneurship.
Yes.
It's a tough word.
Big words. I'm actually, for lack of, realistically, that's what I am, because I've been selling houses for 25 years. So, nobody finds me unless I'm out there presenting myself to the world. So, same kind of mindset. My high from what I do is when I actually get those buyers under contract, because I get the negotiation going on, and once the negotiation finalized and the terms and conditions meld together, that's where my excitement comes. It's wow, especially my first timers, because they think it's so far away from being able to become a homeowner and build that wealth, at least start building that wealth, because wealth is built in real estate from part of that aspect. That's exciting to me. That's where I get that dopamine high, that, runner's high, if you call it. Because even though, my wife and I have probably done, 100 races, 60 of them being at least half marathons, I never really got runner's high. But I started noticing that every time I got those first timers under contract, wow, that was the thing, man. That was the excitement. That was the, the juice. Oh, let's do this again, So I get what you're doing, what you're saying, because it's cool to build things and get to the point with me, she asked me the other day, we were getting lit up with requests to be on the show. She's like, how do they have your phone number? I'm like, all you gotta do is Google me. I'm like, I had somebody Google my license plate one time in a parking lot, and because it's an acronym for real estate guy, all my stuff came up, so they called me. You're parked in the wrong spot. They have
You know,
their
it's funny you
concert,
say
you know?
that, though,
Yeah.
because I just heard somebody say the other day on a podcast I was listening to that same thing where she's still at kind of as a mindset. We were all there at one time, right?
Yeah.
When we were trying to be private while we were online, and everybody has abandoned. I mean, I'm still a little on Nikki's side where,
Yeah.
you know, every now and then I'm like, do I really want to do that? And then it's like, wow, my name's been out there for at least 10, 15 years now online. We're doing everything online. If you're going to get hacked, you're going to get hacked at this point, you know?
Yeah, I don't carry a business card around anymore. I just
No.
don't. I got a virtual card, but like even
okay.
then, I'm just like, I'm so easy to find. Just literally, just search my name.
Yeah.
You'll find me.
Yeah, I carry business cards only when I'm showing houses and when I first meet somebody because I'm still old school like that. But I put them on every counter when I show houses, and the reason behind that is,
I've got
especially
I've got this thing called Blink, BLINQ. It's been a game changer.
really.
Yeah, I freaking love it. It comes with the whole code and stuff like that,
QR
but you
code,
put all
right
your
on.
information, and it saves right onto their phone. But the beauty is whether they save it or not, you get their information.
Oh,
Hey.
nice.
And then it comes like in a list. So like these are the contacts of just like the last event that I went to. So now I can follow up with them.
Oh, that's so you just bump phones basically.
Yeah, that's it.
I just pulled it up. That's cool. So is it kind of so it's like I have Linktree, so I can
it's
share
free.
my QR code that way. Oh, that's even better.
Yes.
That's my favorte 4-letter word.
That's
Yes,
even
it's
better.
free.
Wow,
I love it. I love it. Somebody introduced that to me a couple weeks ago. Like literally just like a month ago, and I've been raving about it.
Wonder how they do that free because I'm looking at the 2.5 million people across 500,000 companies using it, and some of the companies that are on this thing are insane.
I don't know, but the guy that told me is like, it's free. Don't pay for the paid version. The free's good enough. And I've been using the free, and it is. Maybe there's like a max of contacts. Who knows? I'm sure there's that. Maybe that could probably happen, but I'm not there yet.
I
No,
bet
that's
that's
cool.
it. I bet corporations are footing the bill because they probably have 500 people on it.
Could be.
Like Vince said, you know, when you get to the paid version, you probably have to
Yeah.
pay to have that many contacts. So they're probably footing the bill for the rest of us, which is awesome.
Which
Now,
is
can
great.
you customize it? Because I see I'm on their
Yep.
page and okay.
So limited on the customizations too. Like there's like a 4 or 5 different customizations, which is fine by me. And you can put all your information, and it looks super rad. To be honest, like it's just like
Yeah.
it's got all the stuff. You can put all your social media accounts as well on there, which is really cool. I love
That
it.
is cool. Yeah, because
So for the entrepreneurs out there, what is that again?
Blink.
Blink, BLINQ.
Very cool.
It does have a link down here that says start your free 30-day trial. So maybe they're expanding. Oh my gosh, you can sync your CRM with this thing in seconds. That's insane.
Chris is
Maybe
getting excited, ladies and gentlemen.
well the
which
CRM
was
part of
good.
it. Maybe that's where you're gonna have to pay because, you know, someone like me that has a database, that would be a trip to be able to just wow. You can.
That's
you
pretty
can-
cool. So then you can put them into your CRM, and then you can start putting them into like that email nurture or something like that for your newsletter and
Okay, for
everything.
those of us not in the know, what is CRM?
Client retention management. So it's
It's the
guess that,
software you
damn it.
use for your business to keep
Yeah.
track of clients.
yep.
Okay.
Basically, like if you were still here in Arizona, and still living in the house I sold you, Mike, years and years ago, you'd be getting drips. You'd be getting.
Where do you guys
stuff.
live?
I live in Arizona.
Illinois.
Tampa.
There you go.
Wow. We
There
spanned
you
the
go.
country again.
We totally spanned the country. We're literally like, and I see our boxes are like here. It's like exactly where we live.
Oh, that is. There you go. And you guys just.
Kind
you
of,
guys.
kind of.
I just. If you're a football fan, I just saw this morning that Tampa Bay. You guys re-signed your coach and GM. Extended
Yeah.
them.
So I will never claim Tampa. I am born and raised in the county of Dade, Miami, Florida,
Okay. So Dolphins.
all day. Unfortunately.
Okay.
I was
I've
a
been here for
Dolphins
7
fan at
years,
one
though.
time.
Well, you did win. Well, Dolphins have won one Super Bowl, right? And they have the legacy of the undefeated
Only
season.
undefeated season.
Yeah, I
It's-
mean that's
I'm over
something.
it though. I'm over it.
I know.
Yeah.
I wasn't alive.
Kind of
Okay.
like the 85 Bears. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah. See, at least I have the Giants on my side where it's.
Everybody's got theirs. I'm like the
Yeah.
only guy that doesn't have it. It's been so fucking long. Can I curse?
You can curse.
course you
It's
can.
so loud.
Ridiculous, man.
It shows you're human, man.
I was 15 years season ticket holder, guys. 15 years. And you don't
Wow.
want to know what my highlight was?
Yes.
It's Greg Camarillo running down the sideline all the way, scoring a touchdown in overtime for the one win of the season. The one. It was 1-15, so that we didn't go 0-16.
See, that would have been a nice little thing, flip flop, right? You know, the only undefeated perfect season ever. And oh, by the way, now we actually never won a game this season. Like the bookend of it, bookending the legacy of the Dolphins.
My other highlight is the one playoff game that I went to.
Okay.
Chad Pennington's at quarterback.
Yeah.
And I'm row 6, corner end zone.
Okay.
And I'm with my cousin, and we're always like watching, like, you know, we pretend like we know what we're talking about. We're watching X's and O's. I swear to God, guys. Pennington steps back, and we're like corner, so we're behind him. Dude,
Okay.
I see Ed Reed in the corner, and me and my cousin just were like, no. Pennington doesn't fucking see him and just throws it, and Ed Reed does his Ed Reed thing, and he just comes across, pick 6. And we were just like, we saw it, and Chad didn't see it. That's my one
Chad
playoff memory.
But see, that's so true, right? When you're watching football, you see things on the couch or in the stadium that you don't understand why the quarterback doesn't see it.
Because you have an overhead view.
Yeah, for sure.
He doesn't
Yeah,
have an overhead view of the field.
I mean, I was a huge Chad Pennington. I mean, that season was fun because we actually won and we went to the playoffs. But I don't even think we won a playoff game in the last, like, I was telling my friends that. My friends are still like, oh, Dolphins. I'm just like, dude, I'm so over it. Like, we're just cursed. Did you know that stadium is built on an Indian burial ground?
No.
I did not know
fucking cursed. You guys really got me going.
No, that's cool. We're football fans.
So here's a question for you then, since you're a lifelong Dolphins fan. What are your thoughts on Dan Marino?
Well, the funny thing about that is that I didn't really become a Dolphins fan until I actually graduated high school.
Okay.
I was, my parents weren't huge football fans, so for some reason they were all in on the 49ers because in the 80s they were winning the Super Bowl. They were winning all the Super Bowls. Right. So I go away for high school and I go to this school called Slippery Rock University. You ever heard of it?
No.
Small school outside of Pennsylvania. Small school outside of Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania.
Rock.
I was playing tennis. I was playing college tennis for them.
Okay.
It was like the one school in the country. I got a degree in sports management, and that was like one of the top-rated schools. Super small, but a top-rated school in sports management. So
nice.
I go to that school, and if I would have gotten $1 for every time somebody asked me, "What the fuck are you doing here?" Because I'm from Miami, Florida, not Miami, Ohio.
Right.
Miami, Florida, and I'm in Slippery Rock, 2 traffic lights in the whole town, 45 minutes outside of Pittsburgh.
Right.
And
it's cold.
I became really proud of my city. I was like, oh, Miami. And then I just became a huge Dolphin fan because I wanted to represent my city. And then when I came back, my dad was nice enough to gift me with one season of season tickets, and then I took it from there. Yeah. And I just became, I'm a diehard. I'm not even a big sports fan anymore that much. I'm so focused on like family and business and stuff like that. But the Dolphins I sit down for. I mean, the Dolphins are like my thing.
That's cool. Gotta have a thing, man.
Gotta have a thing.
So let's talk a little bit about what you do now, because again, before you came on the show, I noticed you were live on Facebook doing a Q&A session. Now, when you do that, are you live on YouTube as well, or just Facebook?
Yeah, I go on StreamYard, so I do YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook.
Okay.
At the same time.
And is that tied? StreamYard, I've never heard of that. So can you do all the things?
It's the same thing as Riverside.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, cool.
I think Riverside can do it.
I know we're streaming live right now on YouTube. Every
And
time
Twitch.
we have somebody on the show, we go live on YouTube. So simultaneously right now, and there's a little bit of a delay. Whoops.
But can you go
Twitch.
live on different social media channels?
Yeah, we're also
there
on
we are.
Twitch. You can go on any one you want as long as you have the URL.
Right.
Cool.
So there we are live on YouTube. It's a little bit of a delay. Like I think right now you're talking about how bad the Dolphins are.
Probably.
But I got the Giants, man, so I feel you, okay? I mean, talk about a waste of $50
Dude, you win every
million
10
a
years,
year.
Chris. Chris, you win every 10 years. Do the math.
We've been waiting since '85. So
Who's your team, Mike?
The Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears. The
The
Bears are
Bears.
pretty bad. The Bears are pretty bad,
Bears.
too. I'm not going to lie.
They
No, they're-
turned a little
oh,
bit,
yeah.
though. They got a little bit of light now.
Every year,
We'll see.
every year my buddies and I get together and we try to go to an away game. And we went to the Chicago game a couple years back.
And they were really bad a couple years back.
Yeah, but that son of a bitch quarterback ran all over us. We got the win, but they ran.
Oh, is that when
Justin
Justin
Fields?
Fields?
He went off.
Yeah, okay.
You remember that game?
I do remember it now that you bring it to my attention.
He went off. I think he had over 200 yards rushing. Some
Yeah.
craziness. We could not stop him for nothing. But that offense was terrible.
Oh,
It's terrible.
yeah. I think he broke the record for the least amount of time to throw the ball after the snap.
Probably.
You know, like over an average of the season, he had less time to throw than any other quarterback in the history of the NFL. That's how bad the offensive line was.
Wow.
I was screaming like, just tackle him.
he was so fast and
Yeah,
elusive, though,
so
man.
fast, so fast.
Okay. So that was my squirrel moment. Let's go back to what you do and your Q&A. Now, you do the Q&A sessions live every day, or is it specifically once a week? What?
No, my show I do a podcast on Mondays, which
What's
is
your podcast?
it's on the YouTube show. It's at YouTube at Vince Perri Official. It's called Beyond the Claim.
Okay.
Beyond the Claim.
I was a public adjuster for 16 years, and I recently made a switch to like not do that anymore
Okay.
because the industry's dying. So that's on Mondays is the guest show. Wednesdays is my solo show, and then Fridays I go live.
Okay, so we have Beyond the Claim on Mondays, and then the Vince Perri Show on Wednesdays. Is there does your show have a name or just your name?
Just my name right now. My goal has been I've kind of switched to the personal brand. That's like the thing that I've noticed a lot of people doing. So I try to just name everything by my name, and I'm trying to really explode that and really get the word out there just about entrepreneurship, business, scaling your business. And ultimately what I do for a living and what I'm scaling right now is the exit strategy business brokering side of it.
Okay.
So if Mike, you had a company and you wanted to sell it to somebody else, you'd basically hire a broker to market it for you and find a buyer and broker the entire deal.
Okay. So that's what you're kind of going into now?
Yeah, but along with that, I created a product that we're selling called the Value Clarity Report. And then from there, there's a subscription model to increase the value of your business so you can get to that dream number that you want to sell for.
Oh, right on. That's cool.
That is cool.
That's one of many millions of businesses you've created.
Not millions of businesses, but definitely there's been several failures, that's for sure.
Well, like we say, it's not how you fall, it's how you get back up, right?
Well, I'm really good at getting back up. I will admit that because I read that every time I hear that or read that, I'm just like, all right, well, I think I've got that down. I don't normally spend too much time down and out. I tell people that you could try not to have bad days or bad weeks and obviously not bad months. Try to have bad moments. Because you get the moment and then you realize it, you see it, you feel it, you hear it, listen to it, and then move it along.
Yeah, I have the mindset of it's from Brian Buffini, which is a real estate coach guru, that you win the day. So you win every moment. To win the day, you got to win. There's 24 hours in a day, right? So you got to win the majority of those hours in that day to win the day.
Right.
Then if you win the week, again, you have 7 days a week, so you got to win the majority. So you got to win at least 4 days that week, and then win the month. A certain amount of days in the month, 16, 17 days in the month, depending, and then you got to win the year.
Yeah. So. And for me, I got like 5 things that I have to do pretty much every day. And it's like I need to exercise. Yep. I need to exercise. I obviously need to eat right. I need to read for at least 30 minutes a day. Okay. I need to review my goals.
Okay.
Something that I've implemented. That right there has been a game changer over the last 6 months or so. It's just not just setting the goals, because too many of us set the goals and then never freaking look at them again. So I review them every morning and every evening and sometimes during the day. I've even written a story for myself of like my ultimate life of what it's going to look like. The big ass house on the water and the Corvette and all that stuff. Yeah. I've written that story out in present tense. So I'll read that. And then as far as the social media, personal brand, and the business, I have to post on social media 3 times a day.
Okay.
And I have to do 5 opens. An open is basically me reaching out to you guys to be on your podcast. Cool. Me reaching out to someone who just followed me who might be a potential client. Stuff like that.
Cool. That's cool.
Because you'll be surprised. Everybody that likes and comments and follows you on social media is obviously somebody that's interested in what you are sort of providing, whether that be just for the content, which is cool. Sure. And I asked the question, I'm like, hey, do you want to scale your business to sell it one day, or are you just here for the content? So I qualify them right there.
Nice.
And if they're just here for the content, I'm like, cool, thanks so much for following. I really appreciate it.
Right on.
Yeah, I like to call that like levels of engagement, right? At what level did they engage? Did they engage because I posted it? That was a guest they liked, right? They don't give a shit about Chris or I. They care about that guest. So that's the minimal level of engagement. And that's cool. That's awesome. Yeah. Glad they were on. They're a Vince Perri fan, right?
Right.
And then there is a level where they're just a Chris or just a Mike or a both of us fan. I found there's just levels of why people stop by to listen to what you have to offer. So I like the way you explained that.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I've been doing the podcast now. I took a little bit, the Wednesday show, I haven't missed a Wednesday in 5 years.
And that's just to remind people that's your personal stuff.
That's
the
the
Vince
solo
Perri
show. Well, it's all on the same channel, though.
Right. Well, sure.
So the solo show, we made a rule with the team where, like, it doesn't matter if there's a freaking war in Iran or if there is whatever tragic event that could possibly happen. Like, every Wednesday, you're coming out with that show.
Right.
The Monday, the podcast, we used to sort of do it every once in a while, this and that. But my point that I wanted to make is that one thing I've learned with having a guest on, and it's the same thing like when you're watching a sports guest or you're watching, normally when you have a guest on, it's our responsibility as the interviewers to just like let the guest shine. You know what I'm saying? I've seen a lot of podcasts where it's the host talking over the guest a lot and interrupting them a lot. And I learned that after watching a few podcasts. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have just one rule, and it's just going to be to shut the fuck up.
Stop right there.
Sorry.
Stop right there. You just hit my hot button issue because what I hate is when I'm listening to a podcast and someone is making a brilliant fucking point, and in the middle of that point that might last 5 minutes, here's what you hear. Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's great. Uh-huh. Oh, spectacular. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I don't mind that
It's
as
a
much.
nervous fucking tick, man, and it drives me nuts.
I don't mind that as much as what happens. What I notice is that if someone says something interesting, and you as the guest, like, you could relate to it, and you just interject with your comment because you find it so interesting, what happens is that it derails them.
Right.
It derails the guest, and then they're like just reacting to what you just said when you don't know what was going to be said like in the next 30 seconds or 1 minute. And every time I catch myself wanting to say something, especially because I don't want to forget, that's the hard part about being a host is you forget, is I'll stop myself. And then a lot of times what comes after that is gold.
Agreed.
By not derailing them, you know?
And I agree with that side of it too. You don't want to miss the point that the guest had. I think one thing, Chris was on the radio for, how long were you on?
A year on iHeart, Real Talk USA with the real estate guy.
And he said initially that was one of the things that he learned right off the bat was, how to fill that space without being annoying. And it is tough. You have to know where you need to interject to keep the guest going to not derail them. That was a good way to put it,
Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely tough.
And our approach to this too is we don't interview anybody. We have conversations. So when people reach out and want to be on the show, it's like, I want to be interviewed. Well, that's not what we do. Go watch a couple episodes and understand how we approach this, because it's the same concept, Vince. We want you to share your knowledge and drop your knowledge bombs, and we want you to plug yourself and what you're doing in your businesses, your avenues, how people find you, which is why Mike asked, and that's important because, I love the conversations we have, but I also, Mike and I both want to help whoever we're talking to get their stuff out there. And, when this is all said and done, you're going to have 10 to 15 shorts just from this show.
Nice.
And you can use this however you want, right?
That's awesome.
But that's the benefit of it. It's not just, we want this for us. Mike wanted to do this because we have such a long friendship together and we know each other so well, but it was also a way to just have conversations and meet new people like you. And just, everybody helps everybody. We don't, if you've watched some of our stuff, which I'm sure you have, it's never really about us. Our stuff kind of pops in there because the conversation leads there, but it's not like, oh, look at us. It's like, let's look at Vince and let's have a conversation around what he does.
Well, I think it's good to know, too, that this show's more conversational, so then it's okay. Like, my show is it's more interview. Like, I have a list of questions. I do research. I do a little bit of research before, and I get sort of everything it doesn't take me long. It's like 10 minutes, like prep and stuff like that. But I get a good idea of what I want to ask, and I'm elaborating a little bit on what they say, but for the most part, it's a lot of questions. Yeah, I'm much more, mine's probably much more interview style.
Cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I listen to a lot of podcasts like that because that's how you learn, right? I would consider that a podcast I would go to be educated. And that's where Rogan became an enigma, because you get educated and you laugh your ass off at the same time and sometimes cry. And, it became something bigger than him, and it's its own entity. Chris described this perfectly, because being in a band together thousands of times, practice would end, the gig would end, and there was always the aftermath, right? And for me, that was almost more fun than being on stage sometimes, because the conversations that would ensue in those hours after we were done being hyper creative, right? So all the energy's flowing through all four of us, or however many people are sitting in that particular circle at the time. And just the conversations that would happen, I missed that, you know? And he was the first person I thought of because he was there for all of them. So,
Right.
you know, who initiated a lot of these conversations? Chris, myself, the guys in the band, right?
It's a beautiful thing, the podcast thing, right?
It is.
And what Rogan did, man. Wow. His show,
So I
he's
guess
so
my
good.
idea was that same initial starting that he had where he was sitting on a couch. I'm like, yeah, imagine sitting on a couch, acting like you've known these people forever and getting to know who they are and what makes them creative and what made Vince want to come on here and tell the world his story, right? Because not everybody wants to do that. I found that as well, and Chris has found that as well. It's like they might reach out to you, but then when push comes to shove and like, hey, you're going to come on the show. Oh, wait, I don't know. I'm not really ready for that. And that's fine too.
Yeah, nobody has time for those people. That's a boring show if you're not going to come out and just, you know, say it like it is.
That's funny.
But yeah, Rogan, man, wow. Talk about a visionary. Like, he did the podcast before anybody even knew what a podcast was.
But you know who he would credit is Adam Carolla and Tom Green.
Oh.
Yeah, because they were on his show a lot in the beginning, right? And they gave him Tom Green, that's right. I know that
Tom
story.
Green built an entire television studio in his basement, and Rogan saw it with his own eyes because they were friends, and he went, Jesus, you have a television studio in your basement. He
It was
said
the
he had like
podcast.
huge cables running, you know, because you had to have all this big time equipment back then. Probably cost him, I don't know, $500,000 or $1 million to do that.
Well, he could afford it at the time.
Absolutely. He was making good money being on television. But Rogan would, just like I would attribute my success as a musician to the many people who taught me about what it took to be a musician, which is far more than knowing how to play. That's just a given. He would credit these people like Adam Carolla. They call him the Podfather. He did the first podcast that anybody knows of.
Really?
And then, and then Tom Green, of course, and Adam Carolla, of course, because after Adam got kicked off of that Loveline show, he ended up doing a podcast because he had a mountain of bills to cover from being a rich man, and all of a sudden, you know, he doesn't have any income. He turned to podcasting as well. So that was all before Rogan, and he's been really good about attributing that, you know.
That's interesting.
I wasn't the first. I saw these guys doing this, and I thought it would be a cool idea, so I had some time on my hands, and the rest is history, because he started out with a laptop and a couch in his office, just like Chris is sitting there right now.
And I remember him telling that story too, because he had been on Fear Factor and he had been on that show?
News Radio.
News Radio.
Yep.
And he was just sick and tired of all the Hollywood bullshit too, and he liked the idea of just being away from all of that stuff.
But he had what he called "fuck you" money from Fear Factor. He didn't have to ever work another day in his life.
He had
right?
fuck you money.
Those checks just keep rolling in.
Well, along with News Radio too, because that's still in syndication.
It is?
That was a great show.
Yes.
Yeah, it's still reruns.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's what I remember him from. I remember Joe Rogan
I do
from
too.
that.
Yeah, I watched that
Yeah,
in the 90s for sure.
Yeah. Phil Hartman. I mean, it's such a great cast, man. Andy Dick, that redhead chick. You know, there's so many little characters.
The guy
Andy
that ran
Dick
the
and-
so many
station.
different. Kathy Griffin. That's what it was.
Kathy Griffin, the one, she did the Donald Trump thing. That's right.
The guy that ran the station, Stephen Root,
Yeah, Stephen.
one of the best
all kinds of
character
stuff.
actors in Hollywood.
Right. You remember that TV show Barry on HBO?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, he was on that. He was I forget what he was to Barry, but yeah, just a
He
great
was on
character
Justified.
actor.
Who are you
Yeah,
talking
great.
about, Mike? What's the name?
Stephen Root.
He was the owner of the radio station
Right.
on News,
On News
Radio.
Radio.
The eccentric,
Oh,
goofy guy.
yeah. He's
Yeah.
great. He's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was
I don't remember
Milton.
him on News Radio. I don't remember him on News Radio.
He was
He
younger,
was
but
Milton
he's still
in
kind
Office
of
Space.
yeah. Oh yeah, he was Milton in Office Space.
Well, he's the stapler guy. Yeah, that's
Yes.
that's where I really remember him. The
I
stapler
forgot
guy.
about that. That was yeah.
Barry, I never got into. I know the show, but I never got into it.
I liked
like
it from
Barry.
the simple fact that it was a twist on being a hired hitman, right?
Right.
It just a twist on it was interesting because Mike and I are kind of we like the whole serial killer, stuff and the weird things. Like my wife is all into crime.
Why are these women all into this stuff? I don't get it. My wife too. It's the weirdest thing.
In case they need to get rid of us, I think.
I guess. I look at her, I'm like, why do you watch this? She's like, I like it. I'm like, okay.
I'm getting educated.
Nikki goes through cycles where she'll be in the bathroom getting ready for the day, and you'll have like SUV on, Law and Orders. Right now, I'm looking at her because she's in the laundry room. She's watching Bridgerton right now again. Vince asked, why do women get into the crime shows? What's your answer to that?
Helping us in case we have to kill somebody.
To kill you?
That's what she said, Vince.
I told you.
Helping us to see if we have to kill somebody.
I told you.
I heard that the crime shows podcasts are some of the most listened to podcasts.
That's a true story.
That's not surprising. It's the true story aspect, right? It's the true life. People, we're voyeurs by nature, right? And we're nosy by nature.
Yes. Because
you even though you don't eavesdrop, you still hear conversations because people don't understand their space, right? Like I'm sure you've all experienced it where you're somewhere and somebody's on the phone and you're hearing their conversation and it's like, oh, okay, stop that. But that's technology, right? But I think that's part of it. We all, which is why I think social media is what it is. We all want to know what everybody else is doing. It's that fear of missing out,
But I don't want to know how they kill. I mean, I still don't understand that. I mean, I guess.
I think he just described it. I try to mind my own business, but I'm as guilty as anybody. If I'm standing in a line waiting to get some food or something, and I hear this lady on the phone, and she says, "Oh, did you know that Stephen is fucking Jane's wife?" You're gonna listen, especially if that conversation starts to get juicy. It's just human nature.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember when the first reality show, Survivor? Do you remember that when that launched, like right after the Super Bowl, and it was like
Actually,
the
first reality show was The Real World.
Well,
Yes,
The Real
on
World.
MTV,
You're right.
yeah.
But I feel like Survivor was like that's when it like put it on the map, the whole
I'll agree
reality
with you
show.
there. Yeah.
And then I was like, remember all those reality shows that came out? And I'm sure you guys were one of like me, were just like, God, television sucks now. It's all these reality shows, but it's like what you guys are saying. People want to know what the real people are doing.
Right, but the downside of that is they scripted that stuff, so it wasn't
Every
all
bit of it.
pure reality. It was, you had to have storylines because if you think about it, the real estate ones that like the LA, the brothers and shit, all they show is the glamour part of what I do for a living. They don't show the chaos, the struggle, the ups and downs. Like you don't walk into a $20 million house. Oh, I'm going to buy this. Give me a break. There's
Wouldn't
so
that be
much
nice?
behind the scenes
In a
of it,
half
right?
hour, Chris.
Right, in a half an hour.
Don't you sell $1 million houses every 28 minutes?
Oh yeah.
22 with commercials.
Right, so Nikki and I used to watch the Alaskan Bush People because it was cool, but by the time I think we got to the third season, then you could kind of tell they were scripting everything. And it loses value, at least it did for us, because then it's not true. It's not real and raw, right?
Yes.
Real World, even though it wasn't, it was probably scripted at some level for the first, not so much I think the first season.
I don't think the first couple seasons were scripted at all because some crazy shit happened.
Yeah, but then as it evolved, they had to because I think they were losing viewers, and I think the same for Survivor. I mean, anything that's reality based now, I think they have so many underlying tones and where you got to go. At one point in time in my career, there's this thing they were doing in Arizona called the Millionaire Mindset, and it was real estate related. And they were trying to generate a Millionaire Mindset, yeah. And they were trying to generate a reality TV show based around a group of realtors. Okay. So you had to go through the different phases. You had to be successful at a certain point of transactions and length in business, things like that. I'll make it a short story. The third event we're doing.
I'm going to sit down. I like the vibe.
Okay. The third event we're doing, they pull us aside and basically are telling us to create drama where it didn't exist. Because there wasn't enough drama with just having these 10 different realtors in this room they were trying to put together a show on. And I'm like, no, I'm not creating drama. This other guy
just hit exactly everything that I've heard about. So like when people are on the fence about, we're dissing on a lot of their favorite shows right now, right?
Yeah,
so,
sorry.
No. I always want people to know the truth, right?
Yeah.
So the scripted part of it is exactly what Chris just described. Every producer that I've ever listened to on a podcast or seen on a documentary that talked about the scripted part of these things, and this all started with Jerry Springer. If we're being,
Dude, that was a good documentary on Jerry
it was
Springer. That was great.
Fantastic.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it, and even if you didn't like Jerry Springer,
Oh,
you're going to learn who Jerry was and how that show came to be. It's fucking phenomenal. But what Chris just described is what these producers describe. They will tell, like, use the Real Housewives, for example. You know, a lot of that cattiness would have never happened, but they drop little hints to, you know, like there's not enough drama going on. So they tell the one lady that the other lady said something she would have never known otherwise in real life, right?
Right.
So it's little stuff like that. And then all of a sudden the cameras roll and she's got that tidbit of information and she just goes right at her. Because she's going to overact being on camera anyway. It's all psychology.
Yep. So when they dropped that bomb, I was like, I was out. And in that final piece I was in, this guy was trying to bait me because he was doing what the show wanted, what the producers told him to do. And then after the show, he was this punk ass dude. And I'm like, dude, I'm not, like, see ya. Like, you know, I probably said some select things to him. And then later on in life, I ended up crossing paths with him in Wake Up Warrior. And he actually recalled all that and was apologetic and kind of like, you know, 12-step type thing. And tried to make amends for it. I'm like, dude, I remember your face, but I don't remember that enough that I would have cared because that's how insignificant that was in my life. It was an opportunity that I was happy to go for, but then when I realized that they wanted that drama, I didn't want that drama. I didn't want that box opened up into my life because we had some stuff going on with one of our family members that I don't need that out in the world because that's going to derail that person's progress. So I just like, yeah, I'm out. See ya. And then I watched it kind of progress, limp along. They had a couple episodes that they shot, and it just kind of fell flat because it just wasn't. 10 realtors in a room is not interesting. She's not. Now, if you have 10 female realtors, no offense, female realtors, that will sell. Because the drama comes along with that. Because they're like you said on the Real Housewives, they're catty. They're like, you know, it doesn't work. You have to find the right group of people to make something like that work, and I just don't think they were effective in doing so. I'm still friends with quite a few of them.
Well, I think one thing that you said in there that the three of us would have in common that you don't find in a lot of people, at least I've found because they think it's weird, is we don't hang on to shit for years, right? Unless it's something that I have to fix about me.
Right.
And it's like if it's something you did to me, I'm not holding a grudge. I forgive you, right?
Yeah.
Forgiveness is for me. That's what people don't understand. You know, I'm not a religious person. But if you've been taught forgiveness through religion, I think people always have it backwards. It's for you to be able to heal, to move on with your life, right?
Agreed.
I don't hang on to shit that people have done to me. I let it go. I can't fix it. I'm not them, right? I can only fix me.
Yeah, you can't hold on to that stuff. If not, that's going to hold you back for a while. I was listening to, have you guys ever been to a Tony Robbins event?
I bought his tapes back when he still answered the phone in the 90s.
Shut up.
No, he actually answered the phone when I ordered them.
Wow, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Late night infomercial.
I know desperate. that he's got Date with Destiny coming up in December. Whatever, I digress. Spotify now, I didn't know, has all kinds of audiobooks that if you...
I just found them myself, buddy. I think they just put them on there.
Dude, I kept buying freaking books on Audible, and they're all on Spotify with my membership.
For free.
And the other day I just felt like searching Tony Robbins, and they had Date with Destiny or the other one, like the entire recording, the entire live recording. So I'm listening to it. And there's one particular section that's interesting. What happens in business is you burn sometimes relationships because money or the business get in the way. To me, that's the hardest thing about business, about being the owner of the business and having to make tough decisions that sometimes are going to better you and your family and be worse for sometimes the other people around you. And it could develop some interesting things. And anyway, he mentions when you're talking about forgiveness and stuff like that, he mentions like, because he's probably, you know, he's talking to most likely a bunch of entrepreneurs and business owners, stuff like that, very successful. And he talks about if you have any of that, if you have any any of those business relationships that went sour and stuff like that, he talks about a whole practice of picking up the phone and calling them and literally just saying, hey, I'm not here to talk. We're not here to, we don't have to rekindle anything. I just want you to know that we had some good times, and they were great. And I want you to know that, like, I'm totally cool, that I'm here for you. And if there's anything that you need or whatever it is, that, like, it's all in the past and stuff like that. Like, doing things like that, like, if there is anything that you are holding on to, doing something like that is, like, very releasing. It's just something that I've been thinking about because.
Nope, we lost Vince's audio.
We lost Vince. We lost you, Vince. We can't hear you. And that was like the crescendo of the
He
comment.
can hear us. He knows.
I know.
I know he was making a...
Yeah. And when I responded to that, when he was done, was...
Where'd you lose me?
There you are. From a business standpoint...
Right about the last 10 words.
Yeah, but you got to be... There's that cutthroat element, right? Because if you look at all the massively successful people that have built empires, they're cutthroat like crazy. Like they'll step on their mother's throat just to get to where they want to go because that's all they see, right?
I just listened to a whole podcast on that too. And
can you guys hear me?
That kind of person, yeah.
We can hear you again, yeah.
We just missed like your last sentence, which was unfortunately the best part.
No, it's just what I was gonna say. Was like, I mean, unfortunately, is that there's a couple people that popped into my head where I'm just like, man.
Well, yeah, but that's human nature, man.
I don't even have the guts to do it yet. I don't know about that. I think about it every once in a while.
Okay, we're going to challenge you, Vince. Do that this week. Just do it. Just like you just said, you just call him up. Hey, Chris, we had some good times, we had bad times,
Yeah.
Sorry I stepped on your neck to get to where I wanted to be, but it was the step I had to take. And
I did it in my personal life. I had one relationship that never should have ended because I was the reason it ended. I went through a horrible time in my life, and to be able to tell that person that I was wrong and they didn't do anything wrong in my eyes, I was a horrible person then, was one of the most liberating things I've done.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Shaving my head,
Oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah, well, he did it in like 1994 for the first time when it was completely socially unacceptable.
Yep. Been doing it ever since, man.
So
it's funny, right? Like, I don't know, man. Like, you just go through life and you have your awakening moments. Like, for me, 26 years old, I had like a huge awakening experience. It was an amazing experience. It was on mushrooms as well. But it was a true awakening experience. And then like you have another one in your 30s, but then you get another one in your 40s. And it's just like...
Go back to the 26-year-old. You can't just dangle that carrot and not tell the story, Vince.
Yeah, man. I had 3 bad breakups. Like everything, that's everybody's. I think that's every man's awakening experience. Is usually bad breakups.
It's one of them, a big one.
Yeah.
It's usually that in business. I always say it's money and women are like, if you could figure those 2 things out, you're good. You get a good woman and you make enough money that you don't have to worry about it. Like that's it. You could coast pretty much after that. And then I was with my buddies and I took mushrooms and it was, I was with my cousin and with my friends, kind of started having a little bit of a bad trip or whatever. I went home and like everybody went home. And then I was like in my apartment by myself. And I don't know, I thought it was done and it just fucking came roaring right back around.
Oh yeah.
And it was just one of those moments, like I just started bawling, crying, just crying my freaking head off. And I just ultimately then had the biggest smile on my face. I remember my dog, Monty, like he saw me and he just came to me and like was with me. And it was just the weirdest thing. Like in a matter of minutes or seconds, I saw like my entire life from birth to that moment right there. Wow. And then I saw the rest of my life from that moment to the end. And I was like...
Have you ever done DMT?
Absolutely. I've got some ketamine in the house if you want some.
So I describe my DMT trip as I lived like half a year somewhere else in about 12 minutes.
I compare it to seeing God.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And I also call it the rocket ship.
That's another good one.
It is a fucking...
See,
it's pretty good, yeah. I enjoy it. If you gotta, the only thing I don't like about DMT is I think you gotta like, we had it in a vape form. You have to like take a lot of it to really go to that next level. But honestly, I think it's probably great definitely for depression and anxiety, because at least after you come down from it, you're just like this, like chill, like wow, amazing experience. The ketamine I haven't tried, but what I've heard about ketamine, it's actually used a lot for therapy. There's a
PTSD
lot of
therapy.
therapists know that they're getting licensed to administer ketamine. It's like it's a
Yes.
little bit different. It's from what I've heard, it's nothing like DMT, where it's not as psychedelic as like trippy and stuff like that. It's just much more, you're kind of in your head, and there's a lot of clarity that comes about from it, and you just really clear some stuff up. I haven't done it yet, pending though, because I have a podcast guest actually next week. She is a therapist, and she is able to administer ketamine, so I'm considering doing it.
Doing it on the show?
That's what Alicia was going to get. She was going to get licensed to do the
Alicia
ketamine
Shields?
therapy.
It's like a thing now. Yeah, it's like a new thing, so I got to try it.
Yeah, see, I've never done the mushroom thing. I've written songs that Mike actually thought that I went down that path, but it just because...
If you listen to the song and the lyrics, you would swear that he's tripped before, for sure.
Nope.
It's not a fun experience.
See, I disagree.
Well, the beginning is great. It's fucking laughing your ass off. But if you take enough of it, it's going to rear its ugly head real quick.
Not necessarily. It's once again, it's your intention.
You're right.
Who you're with. So I've been guided through every trip that I've been through, other than one. We got slipped some acid one night before a gig. That wasn't a lot of fun.
Oh, wow. Without knowing. What the fuck is
But luckily,
happening? What
I
is
had
that?
already done that before. I had already tripped before, or it would have been a horrible experience. So, that's the one-off that I wasn't ready for. Every other time I've done it in my life, I did it for a positive intention, right? Even if it was recreationally, I did it with a group of people who we either laughed or cried for 8 hours together, right? We solved our problems in our own lives, each other's lives. We were together. I've never done it alone. So I guess I don't.
I've never done it at all, so I can't relate. But I can write songs about it because I was always intrigued into that part of it, and how the whole. I've always heard you'll see your version of God, whether it's peyote, whether it's mushrooms. It's one of
That
those
part
things.
is true.
All your inner shit comes out, which
Yes.
is, sometimes you got to look at that shit head on. Have you guys seen these AI TikTok channels of the Yetis and stuff like that?
Oh yeah.
I have.
Oh
I'm
my
not
God.
I'm not a big TikToker.
And they take mushrooms and coke, and they do coke and stuff, and they
Oh.
just wig out. It's fucking hilarious.
Yes. Laugh your ass off.
I officially like the AI channels more than the human channels.
Isn't that creepy?
It's
Isn't
awesome.
that creepy where our world's going?
Why is it
AI?
creepy? You know what's creepy is 150 years ago, if people would have seen what we're doing right now,
Oh, agreed.
would have been creepy.
Wait, so last night, this is funny as hell. I forget what streaming thing I was on, but just I was going through and saw the series Lost in Space, right? From I think it was the early 60s or 50s. It was still black and white.
Yep.
So maybe the 50s. So I hit play on the first episode. The very first, once they do their intro shit, then they go into the Space Command Central, right? And it's like December 1997, and it's the fucking cheesiest thing, man. And like within 20 minutes of building everything up, now the guy's writing in his journal, cursive, mind you, which nobody writes cursive anymore.
Seriously.
And it was like March 2001, and he's writing in this journal about how they're actually lost. It was I was like, whew, the perception of what they thought we'd be like back in the 50s was there, but nowhere near where we're at. I mean, just in our lifetimes.
No,
'cause
Gene
I'm 50.
Roddenberry didn't even get it right. He just got a two-way communicator right.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Because just
He
think about
basically
just
invented a two-way communicator. Everybody
Right.
gives him credit for inventing the flip phone, but all his device did was communicate from one person to another.
What was the one that one where the computer takes over?
War games.
War games?
Whopper.
No,
No. Okay.
not
Whopper?
is it Tron? Was it not Tron? No, where the computer takes over at the end, something like that.
Oh, was it Space Odyssey?
Space Odyssey.
Yeah,
2001. Yeah,
I mean, that's
2001
like
Space
AI,
Odyssey.
right? I guess that's kind of like probably where
Yeah.
AI is going.
Yeah. Well, look at the Jetsons cartoon, man. Like how
They haven't done the
visionary was
flying cars yet, though.
They do. They're just not mass produced. They're out there.
Well, there's there's the things that
the drones.
the drones. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
but
that.
There's a company called Lift Lift where you actually it's a personal. It's like a helicopter. It's manned by drones. They dropped something like probably 10 years ago. I'm like, oh, I'm in, and they shot them $100. I'm still waiting for that to show up. But they're relevant. They're doing all kinds of stuff. If you Google them, you'll see it. But I've seen a couple of things the last probably 6-7 months where they actually are developing flying cars. They had one, but the issue with it, they can't sustain like the Jetsons did. So, you know.
Did you see the news release either yesterday? It must have been yesterday because it's the first time I read it, that said that the top 3 AIs, ChatGPT, and I can't remember the name of the other 2, but the top 3 that people are using right now were polled as to what they would do if they were to either sacrifice humans or risk being shut down. All 3 of them would sacrifice the humans.
What?
Of course.
Yep.
Oh, it's self-aware, man.
Wait, the AI?
Terminator is coming. Yeah.
They were posed this question: if you were confronted with the choice of sacrificing human beings or risk being shut down, which would you choose? All 3 of them chose to sacrifice us. So.
See, but like you said, where you have to forgive the things that happened in your past, like I cannot spend my day worrying about that shit.
No.
Well,
no,
I'm wondering
no.
how ChatGPT is going to sacrifice me when it's just
Come
an
get
app
it,
on
baby.
my phone.
Right, because well, you know, it's electric. They'll figure out some way to electrically shock
Electrify you.
us. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all in for it, man. I'm all
I'd
in.
shit my pants if somebody knocked on the door right now. I can tell you that.
I got an AI I got an AI agent that I'm creating right now.
Really?
Once my sales, and they're going to be creating all those reports that I told you about in the beginning. Yeah, ultimately my goal within the next month is to have an AI agent actually create the report.
Wow.
And then I
think we
have
should know how that works.
my sales team. I'm going to launch my sales team probably in the next couple weeks. I got 2 people interviewing to be part of the sales team, and I am going to have an AI answering setter. So like if you see my ad and you want to call, or if you put your information in, the AI will actually call you within seconds. Hey Mike, thanks for putting in your information. Blah 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 blah. When's a good time to set you up with a call? And then you could actually book it on your calendar. It'll be in your calendar and in our calendar within seconds.
That's awesome.
Because they say that every second that you let go, when a lead comes in, every second that you let it sit, like it just dwindles down into nothing.
Well, and see, the problem that I have in that world right now is that when texting wasn't a thing, if I got you on the phone as a living, breathing human being, you're my client within 10 minutes, because I listen and I understand, whatever, I'm not going to go deep down that path. But it's harder with text because you don't have the ability to understand their reaction. You can't feel their emotion. You can't hear their voice, whether it's hesitating or exciting. You know what I mean? So there's it's taken away the human element. And that's the biggest drawback I see in my industry, is that you have to win them over on a text. But the issue with text is I could text you, Vince, and then you just ghost me and you don't respond for 2 days. I have a
Yeah,
the AI
text is how Vince reads it, right?
Right.
He
the
doesn't hear the excitement and, hey,
No.
Vince, this is Chris Dunham, the real estate guy. Just reaching out to you, wondering about that house you were looking at. He's excited, right?
Hey man, an exclamation point goes a long way.
I've started using BombBomb. So if you're not familiar with BombBomb, it's an email-based platform where you can actually record a video, an intro video.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So if you come to me a thing, then I'll go on my email and I'll do a BombBomb. Hey, Vince, it's Chris Dunham, real estate guy. So this is the first step we're going to take to get you on the path of home ownership. These 3 things, by the way, below, here's a link to my YouTube channel. It has an entire playlist dedicated to the home buying process. Look forward to talking to you, and hit send. And then BombBomb will actually tell me that you opened the email, Vince, but then it will also go even further and tell me what percentage of it you watched. Whether you watched 20%, whether you watched 97%.
Nice.
Which is kind of cool, because then I know you opened it. And I do the same thing when I present offers. I send it to the realtor with the offer, so I know how much they listen to it, because realtors don't read. They don't, the attention span's like a goldfish. So it's kind of a cool platform. I use captions too with videos and things like that. So I've started doing that more once I've had a little bit of a conversation, so then they can kind of get to know the personality and the excitement, things like that. But again, texting to me just sucks, because it's just, you can just walk away and
Yeah.
I still hate it for that reason alone.
yeah.
Well, the beauty with the AI thing is that it sounds human.
I know, it's trippy though, dude.
But they don't know. They don't even know. And the more it does these callbacks, the more it does it, guess what it does? It learns.
Oh, it keeps getting better and better.
It gets better and better.
Yeah. I've noticed that with Dave. Dave's my chat guy. because you name him, so it's Dave.
Oh,
and we
he's
have
Dave.
Conversations.
See, mine at least doesn't have a name, dude. That's creepy.
Name it, dude.
Chris names everything.
Name it,
Vince.
and then please and thank you every time you ask him to do something, because then it just evolves that much more. Like I could go in there right now.
Oh
and
God,
say,
my
hey,
wife is a raging bitch with hers, man. I'm just like, you keep talking to ChatGPT like that.
Somebody is gonna knock on the door.
They're not gonna fucking answer you anymore, man. She's so mean, dude. I'm just like, how do you just talk to that thing? It's like, she doesn't get it right. She keeps getting it wrong.
I do the same thing with Siri, man. I tell Siri to fuck off. She's not listening to me. She
I do
doesn't-
too.
Yell at the GPS because the GPS is telling you to turn.
Yeah, but ChatGPT is giving you such valuable information. You should respect it.
Oh, I do. Every now
I
and
have
then
my,
it pisses me off, though.
one thing that I started is I have my 3-year-old talking to it now.
Right on.
I
That's
just feel
interesting.
like, and some people shake their head, and I'm just like, no, like this is coming,
Yeah, oh yeah.
whether we like it or not. And he has a blast asking about Mickey Mouse, where's Disney, who are Mickey Mouse's friends, and it answers and has a whole conversation. I'll start it like, hey, my son's gonna have a conversation with you. Cool,
Well,
man. Well, what
a
does he
couple
wanna know?
episodes ago, I said that there's no way. Chris and I obviously both have full-time jobs. So do you. You have many full-time jobs. I could not do 2 podcasts a week and edit them and make them presentable in the way they are without AI. There's
Right.
no way.
Oh my God. I saw on TikTok the other day, just yesterday, I'm trying to always learn like the AI automations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
This kid created an automation.
Okay.
He sends a text through Telegram and it just starts the whole automation to post his video on Instagram, and it automatically does it within minutes. But here's the kicker, is the video that he posted was his clone.
Yeah.
No.
That was,
Chat-
it was,
yeah.
that was fucked up. That was like,
Captions,
crazy.
Yeah. Captions lets you create your own AI.
Like,
because I use captions.
but it
for a lot
looked
of my
like,
stuff.
it looked
lets you-
fucking human, dude.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
It's insane. It's insane.
That one kind of creeped me out a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. I don't normally
Is
get
that what
creeped
you
out
use
by.
for the logo, Chris?
Logo I did between Canva and Dave. Dave did our logo that we have now, and I put it together because he wouldn't create what I wanted combined. So I ended up having him create stuff, and I just.
Oh yeah, that
separated
was
it
a
all.
funny story because Chris
Yeah.
was telling me the story, and it was funny to hear someone talk about getting in an argument with his AI.
I did. He was pissing me off, man.
That's what my wife every day. I hear it like, I'm like, who are you arguing with? She says, this fucking thing doesn't get it right.
Yeah. Back to your thing though about the AI version. Captions, a program called Captions.
Yeah, I've heard of it. It does a clone?
Yeah, Captions is cool, dude. If you want to do shorts and stuff for your businesses, it's legit. But then it has you read a script, and you read the script, and then once you've done that, then it stores in the brain of Captions. So then you can just
Oh,
punch
Captions
in,
AI, cool.
Yeah, you punch in the script, and there you go. It just takes it off running. It's creepy because it's my head, it's my torso because I was in the frame. And it just is. It's so freaky. I didn't use it. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. It's weird, man. It's weird. I wasn't prepared for it to be as amazing as it was. So the background was kind of like this, where it should have been a more, just solid background. Not so much just because then every video it looks exactly the same until they came up with background remover. And then you can add different video behind you. And you can do that on Canva now, too. You can remove the background from photos, but you also can remove the background from videos.
What do you-
That's sweet.
What do you think it'd be good for, just to have more content, huh? So that I don't have to shoot the content?
That would be it. But for me, because I do shorts, like our show has shorts twice a day dropping, and we'll always be up a month ahead. But with my business stuff on Instagram, I just do a reel a day. That's it. And I'll have them shot and I'll edit them down through Canva and Captions and have them set up 7 days in advance. So every week I just go through and make more content and.
So this basically helps you not have to create all the content. It'll create it for you.
Like ask chat. Like I asked Dave, hey Dave, if I don't have any ideas. This week I asked Nikki for ideas, so she gave me some great ones I got to work on. But I'll ask Dave, hey Dave, give me 30 days of content to drop on Instagram Reels.
Is Nikki your wife or another
Yeah,
AI?
Nikki's my wife.
Okay.
Nikki's my wife. Yeah.
Like
It's not a.
I
it's not
normally
a
ask
weird
Dave,
AI
but this time I asked Nikki. I'm like, is this another AI or something?
He's got like 7 computers in front of him, and they all have a different name. 6 of them are women and Dave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. You get the human element with the wife. Nikki and I have been together 30 years, so she's
Nice.
she's a great resource of things that I need an idea for this. And so, here you go. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, I always
So it's
like.
cool.
My wife's always. I tell her she's like my business coach sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Looking at it from a different perspective. But you have to be careful with that too, though, because they care about you so much
Right.
that they actually may not give you the best advice
This is true. This is true.
because they're coming from a different angle.
Absolutely.
So,
All right, boys and girls.
is that it? Are we done?
5 minutes. We got about 5 minutes left. Anything else you want to wrap up? Point out?
I was going to say the only thing we were missing was like a joint or something like that. That's the only thing that we were missing.
I'm way ahead of you guys.
Yeah. No, I mean this was fun, man.
Yeah.
No.
Talk about
Who's
the
your audience?
difficulties in the beginning? You know.
Who's the audience for the most part? Like who have you realized
We
like
wish
the target?
we knew, Vince. We're in
Yeah.
20 countries.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you get
We're
most of your
in
views?
What
That's a
countries
my
get most
question.
of our views?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, sorry. What platform?
YouTube.
We
by
just
far.
we just passed. So we're growing this thing organically. We're not spending money to grow it. So in March we had about 23,000 views. I think was that
Roughly.
right on YouTube. And then I started putting shorts out every day, twice a day. We just passed 104,000 yesterday.
105.
105 on YouTube, which is cool. From with not dropping money. I mean, I can't express that enough. Because, I have 1 million views. Okay, but how much did you pay for that? We're
Right.
all organic. We're just straight up organic because it's to us it's better to build something real than have a bunch of fluff. So it's kind of a loaded question because again I've in the last 2 days I've 50, 60 people wanting to be on the show. Now I'm kind of starting to qualify. Okay, why do you want to be on the show? Someone wants to be on the show who claims that Bigfoot is real. Yeah.
YouTube, Spotify,
Yeah.
Apple Podcasts, and a platform called Overcast are our top 4. Podcast Addict is tied with
Is
Overcast.
is the audience like more males, females, between
It's
what
split
ages?
right down the
It's
middle,
split,
man.
yeah.
It's about 58% male and 42%
What age
female.
group?
The mass of it would be between 35 and 65.
Got it.
Yeah.
We actually got all the way down to the not 0 to 17, but the next one up, 18 to 25 or 18 to 30, whatever it was.
Yeah.
That's about 5% of our listenership. I think most of it's my nephew next door, but because I know he listens. So thank you, Carson, for listening
Yeah.
to the show.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just ask your viewership if they would, if they're interested at all in entrepreneurship and business. My YouTube show is pretty killer when it comes to that.
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
we'll
I
make sure
Plug
you-
all
yeah.
your stuff there
Yeah.
real quick, too.
Yeah, I
for
give
sure.
it all away. So the at Vince Perri official, again, 3 times a week. We're basically we're posting something, and I'm very prevalent on Instagram, and I always give something away. So like I've got a valuation, basically like a cheat sheet that I give out. So if anybody's interested at all in really understanding exactly how to value their own company, they can do it themselves with this document. It's several pages long where it just breaks down the step-by-step process where you take the profit, you take the owner's compensation, you take the taxes and so on and so forth. You take that, you put a specific multiple on it. I've got, the different multiples that go. So if anybody wants to actually find out what the valuation of their company is, they could use this document to do it.
Cool.
So if anybody follows me and sends me a direct message on Instagram and say that it's from your show, you got it. You'll have it in your inbox.
And Instagram is Vince Perri Official.
Also, Vince Perri Official.
Okay, so you have the Monday podcast, which is the Beyond the Claim,
Beyond the Claim.
and then you have your Vince Perri Official that drops on Wednesdays,
Yep.
and then on your Facebook page you're doing Q&A questions. Is it daily or once a week?
Every Friday I go live on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.
Okay, there you go. So for those of you who want to learn more about Vince Perri, and it's Perri.
I'm easy to find.
Yeah, take a look at that. Just Google him. Google Vince Perri.
Perri.
RRI. Yeah, and so that's awesome, man.
Thank you so much for coming on, Vince. It was
No, man,
great
thank
meeting
you.
you. Definitely want to have you back for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on. We got to all hang out in person one of these days.
Yeah,
That
that'd
would
be
be
hard.
awesome.
Soon, how we'll figure that out somehow.
Somehow, some way, who knows? Or we'll just do this again.
Yeah, or sooner or later we're going to have that beam me up, Scotty technology, right? Then we can just transport ourselves to other.
Put on
people's-
some like thing on our head, and we'll just all be hanging out having some beers.
That would be so cool.
See, it would be cool.
It would be cool. Technology is good for some things, right?
Exactly.
In
All
our
right,
hands, it is.
Yeah. We wrap up every show with "Don't let the bad days win." Somebody loves you. Somebody will miss you if you're gone. So if you're having a bad day, reach out, talk to someone who will listen. And if not, just go to bed and wake up tomorrow knowing that it'll be a better day than it was today. Don't be that person that leaves that hole in the heart. Love you, brother.
Love you too, man.
All right, Vince. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Best of luck.
Absolutely.
man.
Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
All right, thank you,
We'll
guys.
definitely have you back on.
Cool.
Peace.
Quickly, we're gonna fly into the field. Look the tablet, go insane. Feel the tears flow through your eyes. On your journey, take it slow to the place where you will go. Feel the trail behind your eyes. Feel the sorrow beneath your take a moment, listen to your tears. Fight the battle that you must win. Fight the battle that you must win. Who is it, baby?